Hey, this is Kuhls Comic Book Basement. I'm your host, Jason Kuhl, and you best believe I'm as cool as my last name. Yes, that's what's up. Alright, so, it's Wednesday, and today is my friend's birthday. She works with me at Fridays. She's a real cool person, and she's the bartender, like I said, and this is a picture of me and her. She works there. Her sister also works there, and they're real cool people. Oh, that's another picture. Well, now I'm just going through pictures of Facebook. Alright, so, yeah. So if you're ever in St. Charles, go to Fridays and she'll be happy to get you a drink. Alright. So, now we're going to talk about Brian Posehn, who is a famous comedian and also writes a lot of good Deadpool comic books. Let me type, just give me a second, I'm typing YouTube. Oh, well, that's not going to work. So yeah, Brian Posehn, in case you know, like, who's he? You know the guy who, in the beginning of Devil's Rejects, who got a bullet in the head as soon as he was on there? Yeah, that's him. So, and you know, like, if you don't watch Devil's Rejects, or whatever, hold on a second. Alright. Yeah, I'm opening up his show 1 second. So yeah, Brian was saying he does quite a few Deadpools. He does, like, he's my favorite. He's doing one right now called Deadpool Gauntlet, I think. It's internet. I'll show you that in a minute. And it's about versus Dracula, and it's a really good read. We'll talk about that in a minute. Alright, just give me a second. Alright, here's some of his work as a comedian. Alright, this camera lady who's doing this work. I'll get closer, you guys can hear him.
Because growing up, I hated when comedians would talk about having a kid. Like, I always fucking hated that, and now I'm that guy. And I used to do a joke even where I said, I fucking hate that shit so much. I hated when guys would change when they'd have a baby. You know, they'd become totally pussified on stage. The next time you'd see them, they'd be like, I looked into my baby's eyes and I saw how precious life is. I hate that so much. So I used to say, if you ever see me do that, if you ever see me up here on stage talking about my kid, like, he fell from heaven and he's made an angel wings and muffins and say, if I do that, I want you to punch my baby.
Wow. So, that's Brian Posehn, and so, if you don't know who he is, go on YouTube or go on your Netflix and check him out. He's a really good comedian, and he's a really good comic book writer. I like how he does Deadpool, he just has fun with it, and we'll talk about that comic book in a minute. Alright. Alright, well, not much to talk about. I'm gonna go, it's not a big day today, so here's the weeklies. The Thunderbolts. Oh, and Thunderbolts, Ghost Rider. Sorry. Thunderbolts, they had to team up with Ghost Rider because they was thinking about talking about how to take down Mercy, the alien from out, super god from outer space, who was to feed on, like, death and misery. And yeah, so that's what they're trying to do, and the leader gets the idea just to send a portal straight to hell. And that's when they get Ghost Rider, and they do that. Alright, this is the Spirit Spider-Man, And this is the conclusion of the Venom attaching itself to Peter Parker, aka Dr. Ock. Alright, and then this is a thick one. This is pretty thick. This is like $5 thick. So, in this one, the Avengers are trying to take down Venom, who took over Peter Parker's body, and who's also, as we know, Dr. Ock. And at the end of this, Peter Parker returns. His spirit returns and helps. There's a helping hand at the end of the comic book, and it's a really good read. This is Black Dynamite! Yeah! This is from a cartoon series called Black Dynamite. It's on Adult Swim. This is the first issue. He's just kicking ass, taking names. And it's just the beginning of his ventures. So check that out. Oh. And right back. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab the Deadpool comic book, and we'll talk about Brian Posehn. I left it upstairs, so I have to go get it 1 second. So when we be back, we'll talk about Brian Posehn and his comic book. Alright, yeah, this is Brian Posehn comic book that you can get for free at the comic book right now. This one's for free, and that's what it gets you. And you can buy other ones online. So, yeah. It's a cool idea, and that way you don't have to wait for the rest of it to come out. But this is when he fights Dracula. If you want to zoom in there. I'll show you my favorite spot, my favorite part that's pretty funny. He, in the beginning, one of Dracula's servants, just leave it zoomed like that. One of Dracula's servants tries to give him an invitation, and he thinks he's trying to rob him, and then he starts fighting him. And then, can you see it? Alright, yeah, see? A trolley goes by, and he disappears, and Deadpool's like, what are you, one of those vampires, British vampires, do they have the kinds that disappear? I'm invisible? You can't fool me! And he starts fighting them. Yeah, and he starts fighting, like, trolley goes by and he starts fighting over there. He's like, start fighting nothingness. Yeah, there he is. I'm looking upside down. There he is trying to fight nothing. Because he thinks the vampire's on top of the trolley. And he's like, you can't fool me, vampire. I will get you. But there's nothing there. And so, later on, he meets up with Dracula at the end, who was going to hire him, and then he's mad at him for killing his servant. And he was like, well, Deadpool's like, well, can't you just deduct it out of my pay? And I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to fight Dracula even though he can heal. It still hurts. Everything still hurts. So, yeah, that's today's weekly. Next week, I'll get a chance to talk with Paul. I didn't get a chance to talk with Paul this week. So next week I'll talk with him. And there'll be a lot of cool stuff here. Kuhls Comic Book Basement. And I'm Jason Kuhl. I'm your host, and that's what's up.